Hey guys, welcome back to TohirT channel. Tahir is here. I hope you had a fantastic week. For the past couple of months, I feel like I've been talking either about the small businesses or some sort of message. So for this time around, I am picking a topic that is a little bit more lighthearted, does not cause as much stress or anxiety. The next season of the Game of Thrones that is about to premiere tomorrow. For those of you who have not seen Game of Thrones before, that was my bad attempt at being sarcastic. And for those of you who've joined this channel recently, first of all, welcome. And yeah, I like to switch things up from time to time to just keep it more entertaining for you guys from week to another week. Let's do this.
We need to end this war.
You might have clicked on this video because you're trying to figure out if this is the right time for you to start watching the Game of Thrones. Because, most likely, people around you won't shut up about it. Social media is just exploding with news and previews and all sorts of like tidbits and like small spoilers and things of that nature. And if you live in a big enough city, there are billboards and posters all over the freaking place. Everything is pointing to the fact that this is the beginning of the end. The season 8 is starting tomorrow. This is the first episode of the 8 episodes to go. This is the end of the saga. And yes, the spoiler alert for the rest of the video is you should definitely, this is the time to start watching Game of Thrones. I have an approach. It's a little bit controversial, a little bit contrary. I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me, but it helped me pave my way through hundreds of these TV shows that you now can find across all the various streaming services and different channels. There is a lot to choose from. You could be sitting there scrolling through Netflix with your best friend or your spouse for 10, 15, 20 minutes instead of actually watching a show. It just got ridiculous to the point where I had to devise an approach for myself to help me filter which shows to watch. And hopefully this approach will help you as well.
We need to end this war.
The reason why I would recommend to start watching the Game of Thrones right now if you've not watched it before can pretty much be distilled down to the fact that this is it. This is the end of it. These are the last 8 episodes to go. We know for a fact that writers, producers, directors, actors, everyone is on the same page about the fact that there are only 8 episodes to go. They need to bring a lot of the storylines, a lot of the characters to the conclusion. They need to give the right conclusion to those characters. You won't be left high and dry not knowing what happened to your favorite characters. If you start today at the very first episode of the very first season, by the time you're gonna finish the season 8, by the time we all will finish season 8, we will have the payout from that entire experience, which lasted and spanned several years. How many times did you start watching a TV show for it only to be cancelled? And all of a sudden you have all those storylines that were left incomplete, all the mysteries that were left uncovered. And here are just a few examples of the shows that have been recently released and cancelled a few years later that I know for a fact are good. The people would keep telling me about how great the show is, how amazing the characters, the storylines, the plot, all that fun stuff. But then it got cancelled. So now if I will start that show, I will enjoy it. I know I will enjoy it. I know they will be right about all the great things that I've heard about those shows. But that thought about, oh wait a second, this show is cancelled now, so I will not receive the full payout of this, just annoys me enough to the point where I decided for myself, I will not watch those shows. I'm sorry, I just hate spending time on a show that will not have a proper conclusion. And this is my controversial approach to watching TV shows these days with all that inventory out there. I wait to hear that definitely there is a commitment from the production company, from the directors, actors, producers, all of those guys who are behind the camera about when the show will end. The perfect example for this is Breaking Bad. I did not watch Breaking Bad, the TV show, until I learned that there are only 4 episodes left and they're about to release the conclusion to the entire series. At that mark, I started watching it from the very beginning. I've heard before, don't get me wrong, that the show is great. I heard that Aaron Paul, Bryan Cranston, all the guys, they're amazing. I heard the episodes get better and better from one season to the other, and it completely climaxes at the very end of the last season, which is very unusual for the show.
Are we not saying phrasing anymore?
But I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to commit to it and to see it all fall down. But when I knew that there are only 4 episodes left, I knew that they're ready. They're slowly wrapping up and untangling all the final, plot twists, and everything's gonna be settled at the end of it. I knew, okay, now it's time to pull the trigger and watch it, and I enjoyed every single moment of that TV show.
We need to end this war.
Now let me pause here for a second and play devil's advocate to my own controversial approach, because I can already see some of you sitting there and a few arguments are slowly bubbling up in your head. Number one of them, which is I think pretty fair, Tahir, this show will be spoiled to me before I ever get a chance to watch it. Which I disagree. I think at this point, internet, people who are actively using social medias, they learn the best practices to not spoil shows for the others. I did not spoil Breaking Bad for myself. I'd like to think that I'm pretty well plugged in with social media and entertainment industry, yet I went for years before I jumped on that bandwagon in the last season without ever hearing a single plot line or plot twist from that show. The second argument is FOMO, fear of missing out. We are social creatures. We are tribal creatures. We like to be together with a certain group of people. We like to be at the cool kids table. So when you see the entire social media, like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, just blowing up with posts about a particular show, you want to in. You want to be part of that group. Yet to me, the value of being in is fully outweighed by the risk of that show being cancelled. I do not want to invest hours and hours of my time, which I have limited amount of, on a show that will never see a proper conclusion. As I've said multiple times before, I do not have that much free time. You guys, I'm sure, do not have either. I want to be snobby when it comes to picking what I want to spend my free time on, and so should you. After all, I'm not watching a show for making that tweet or that Facebook post. I'm watching it for my own personal experience. So who cares if I'm gonna jump on that bandwagon as it's pulling in into its final destination? I will have still as much fun as all those other people did. And then I can appreciate all the memes afterwards. And the final argument against my controversial approach is TohirT. I will not be able to find that show in the future, several years later when it's going to be finally complete. Well, I don't think that's true. Think about this in the following way. We see majority of the shows these days being produced either by the channels themselves, like the major, at least in America, it's ABCs, NBCs, all those major Fox, conglomerates. Or you have the streaming services like Netflix and Hulu producing their own shows. In both cases, whether the TV channels produced it themselves and posted them on their own streaming services, or the streaming services producing their own shows and hosting them with themselves, all of them do not gain anything from taking the shows completely down. They need to have them up so that they pay for themselves even several years down the line. And let's face it, I was born in a third world country, and there's always a way to find the TV show online. Not sure where this cough is coming from.
We need to end this war.
I practice what I preach. Today, I have quite a few shows that I am keeping a watchful eye on. I'm very curious where they're gonna go, but I'm not gonna touch them until I hear that they have some sort of conclusion to either the entire season or the show overall. Yes, there are shows out there that are completely successful within a single season. One that comes to my mind is Altered Carbon on Netflix. That show had perfect conclusion to majority of the storylines of all the main characters, of almost all the main characters, within a single season. And the other show that comes to mind are anthologies like Black Mirror. Again, it is also on Netflix right now. Every single episode is its own standalone story. You can watch them in any order. And if they will stop producing both Black Mirror and Altered Carbon today, I will be a little bit upset, but I will not be disappointed, and it will not tarnish my experience from watching all the seasons and all the episodes from the years past. That is why I'm on the sidelines. I have a couple of shows that I'm already watching, and I'm waiting for them to end. Game of Thrones is being one of them. There is maybe a silly comedy like Ballers on HBO that I would watch from time to time, and there are, as I said, shows like Altered Carbon and Black Mirror, which I know I can tune in and tune out pretty quickly. For all the others, I give the same responses I give to my friends who suggest me yet another show to watch. I nod, I smile, and I promise to check it out. And I will, but most likely I will not start watching it until I know for sure that there is something solid there, and that solid will be taken to the full conclusion.
We need to end this war.
With so many streaming services out there, with so many channels having their own streaming services on top of their regular channels, Disney Plus comes to mind. It is definitely an age for the creators, for all those actors, writers, directors, producers. They have so many different platforms to pitch their ideas to, and those platforms are hunting after all sorts of weird ideas because they want to offer something different, something unique that the Game of Thrones was when it started. But to me, it also causes this unfortunate situation of oversaturation of the market where there's too many shows. There's just not enough time to watch all of them, and I'm very picky about my free time, so I have to figure out a way to sort through this. And this, albeit controversial approach, is my way of not letting some bad show or inconclusive show waste my time. I highly recommend you to mimic my approach. Your experience will improve drastically. And to all of you guys who came to this particular channel or to this video, pursuing an answer to the question whether you should start watching Game of Thrones. Yes, you absolutely should, and I hope I convinced you, and you are already streaming or downloading the seasons 1 through 7 and highly anticipating the season 8. Believe me, you will have a lot of fun. It is a roller coaster of a show. Your heart will be ripped out a couple of times and stamped and put back in place, but it is all worth it. This show is one of a kind for sure.
We need to end this war.
Are you excited to watch season 8 of the Game of Thrones? Is there a big show and experience that you've never seen? And do you think there is an argument to let all these shows to age like a fine scotch before you give them a try? Let us know your thoughts and share names of the other shows in the section below. And yes, I said age like scotch, not age like wine. Not to be a pretentious prick, I don't drink wine. Anyway, thank you very much guys for stopping by. If you're new to this channel, go ahead, hit the subscribe button and check out the videos in the backlog. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you very much for stopping by. As always, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about this video, and I will see you all next Saturday, 10 AM Eastern, on this very channel. As I was recording this video, I thought about the fact that there's probably an argument for some of the shows not being aged like a expensive scotch or wine. The bottle should be popped open much earlier than they actually did. By that I mean the show should have ended much earlier. I'll use the examples of two of my all-time favorite shows, How I Met Your Mother and Futurama. Both of them should have ended a little bit earlier, but that's a topic for another video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.